Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a busy time. I remember in my last couple of videos I talked about how coronavirus is affecting life in Singapore. Back then it was only an epidemic, and now it's a global pandemic. The whole world is panicking about it, and Singapore is surprisingly doing much better than other developed countries. Or I guess I should say it's surprising how other developed countries are actually not handling it as well as Singapore. I think Singapore, relatively, the government is doing quite good, pretty calm about it, and keeping the crowd, keeping the people relatively calm, I believe. And so far has been, managing the numbers. I don't think it's like too bad. I suppose this social distancing and stay at home notice practically have affected ant keeping hobby big time. I mean, to be fair, not just ant keeping hobbies, but a lot of other hobbies as well. But since we're talking about ant keeping, I'm sure some of you ant queen hunters are not going out as much because you're worried about the virus, or maybe you just have to stay at home according to your country's policy or whatever going on enforced by the government. But at any rate, please be safe, guys, and do not do anything that would endanger you and your family. Okay, anyway, guys, so in this video I want to talk about the name that I have decided for my trapjaw ant colony and their queen. And to a certain extent, actually, their first nanitic. To those who know me personally, I'm actually quite a history buff, and I think that a queen ant is a very regal creature. It's such a pleasure to see how the social interaction between the workers and the queen ant, how they really treasure the queen. And so I've been thinking, and I believe that the colony's name should fit the colony and the geographic location that we are in right now, me and my ants, right, which is in Singapore. So I got my inspiration from playing my number one favorite game of all time, the Civilization series. To be exact, it is from the Civilization 6, the sixth installment of their series. Go look it up in Steam. They're everywhere. I think they're pretty big, so you should have known by now. You should have heard about them anyway. In this Civilization 6, there is an Indonesian civilization where Queen Gitarja, as the queen or ruler of the empire, although technically it should have been Majapahit Empire, but in these modern days, the old capital of Majapahit sits within Indonesia, so I guess they name it Indonesian civilization in the game. In the beginning, Majapahit Empire started from their capital and only had dominance in Java Island. Their capital was in Java Island. But during the empire's golden days, they expanded beyond the Java Island, and they rule most part of the Malay archipelago, including Singapore and Malaysia Peninsula. And the greater empire that was after the expansion was called Nusantara Empire. Until date, the word Nusantara is still being used to describe this Malay archipelago that we're living in right now. Hence, I think there is no better name to give to my colony other than the Nusantara colony and Gitarja as its queen. And now you wonder, how about the first nanitic? What name could be possible to name a nanitic that will fit in this whole Nusantara and Gitarja story? So to the first nanitic, I chose the name Gajah Mada. Though some history says Gajah Mada was a prime minister within the empire, but his role was actually more towards an army general, where if you make a comparison, Guitar just sits in her ivory tower, while Gajah Mada was the one that's out there warring for expansion and busy uniting the archipelago, kind of like the colony, where the queen now mostly sits within the nest, and the workers go out there foraging, finding food, making sure the colony won't go starve, and making sure the queen has enough food to lay more eggs. So I think the name kind of apt that Gitarja is the queen and Gajah Mada is the prime minister or the general that actually making sure that the colony grows or the empire grows. Yeah. An interesting additional fact about Gajah Mada, I would say that he is also known for his Sumpah Palapa, or Palapa Oath in English, where in history book it is written that he swore that he won't eat anything with spices until he sees the whole archipelago is united. That's how determined this fellow is, yeah, or was, considering he lived in a region where most foods were cooked with a lot of spices. That's a pretty extreme oath. So I don't know. I'm not sure what he can eat. Most of our foods comes with spices and flavors, right? So it was a pretty extreme oath. Whether or not he follows that oath truthfully, I have no idea. But I think if you speak to any Indonesians, they would have heard about this Palapa oath, and it's quite popular. By the way, Gajah Mada also had an appearance in the Civilization game series, but not in Civilization 6. He was in the earlier Civilization 5. If you enjoy a turn-based strategy game, I'm sure you've heard of Civilization. If you have not heard about it, I don't know which cave you've been living in all this while, but you really should be playing that game. All right. Anyway, I am extremely excited to see how my colony grows, and I'm sure Gitarja and Gajah Mada are working very hard to make sure their colony grow as big as possible. And for now, they have a very healthy brood size at the moment, and I cannot wait to update you guys on their progress. So, stay tuned. Please like my channel. Please like my video and click the subscribe button for my channel for future updates. Cheers, guys.